Into the Wild, a non-fiction book written by Jon Krakauer, tells the story of Chris McCandless, a young man who abandoned his comfortable life in search of a more authentic and self-reliant existence. The book chronicles Chris's journey from his affluent suburban upbringing in Atlanta to his eventual death in the Alaskan wilderness at the age of 24. Throughout the narrative, Krakauer explores themes of family, identity, personal freedom, and the allure of the American wilderness. The story begins with Chris's childhood in the 1970s, where he is raised by his well-educated and successful parents, Walt and Billy McCandless. Chris has two siblings, Kareen and Kevin, but he is closest to his sister Kareen. The family moves frequently due to Walt's job as an engineer for an oil company, and they eventually settle in a middle-class neighborhood in Annandale, Virginia. Chris excels academically and is described as a bright, curious, and empathetic child. However, he also exhibits signs of restlessness and a desire for independence. As Chris grows older, he becomes increasingly disillusioned with the materialistic values of American society. He becomes fascinated with the works of authors like Jack London, Henry David Thoreau, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, who advocate for self-reliance and a connection with nature. Chris begins to question the purpose of his own life and feels trapped by the expectations of his family and society. He decides to abandon his studies at Emory University after 2 years and donates all of his savings to charity. Chris changes his name to Alexander Supertramp and sets out on a cross-country journey in April 1992. He hitchhikes, begs for food, and sleeps in abandoned buildings as he travels westward. Along the way, he meets a diverse range of people who influence his worldview and shape his understanding of freedom and self-reliance. In California, he meets a group of hippies who live off the grid in a rural commune, and he spends several months learning their self-sufficient lifestyle. He also meets Jan Bourez, a transgender woman who teaches him about the harsh realities of life on the streets and the importance of resilience. Eventually, Chris makes his way to Alaska, where he hopes to find solitude and authenticity. He purchases an old bus, which he christens the Magic Bus, and spends several months living off the land in the remote wilderness near the Stampede Trail. During this time, he survives by hunting and foraging for food, and he documents his experiences in a series of meticulous notes and diary entries. However, Chris's isolation begins to take a toll on his mental health, and he becomes increasingly paranoid and disconnected from reality. In the spring of 1993, Chris's body is discovered by a group of moose hunters in his abandoned bus. An autopsy reveals that he died of starvation, likely as a result of an accidental poisoning from eating a poisonous plant. The discovery of Chris's body sparks a media frenzy, with many people debating the merits of his actions and questioning the meaning of his journey. Throughout the book, Krakauer intersperses Chris's story with background information about his family, historical context, and analysis of his motivations. He also includes interviews with people who knew Chris during different stages of his life, providing a more nuanced understanding of the complexities of Chris's character. In the end, Into the Wild serves as both a cautionary tale about the dangers of extreme isolation and a celebration of the human spirit's enduring quest for authenticity and self-discovery.